Welcome, I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. From our BizVision studios in the UK, you're watching the Leadership Matters show on the BBTV network. You've heard the story of the Swan gliding along gracefully, but underneath the water, its feet paddling away fiercely. Well, I think that's what's happening to a lot of our businesses in the wake of the pandemic. Brexit uncertainty and economic woe. Those businesses, especially the small ones, know they daren't look to be in trouble, or they'll be chopped by customers, banks, suppliers, or even their own staff. So they paddle away furiously in an attempt to not just move forward, but to keep afloat. Also, unsure of where to get genuine help. My guest today has written a simple but poignant book. I've read it and I like it. It's The Business Pandemic, SME Debt Problems. So let's go meet the author of the book, the host of the Real Talk podcast, and founder of Bell & Company, Terry Bell. Welcome, Terry.
Hi, Malcolm. How are you?
Oh, excellent. Now, I'm in a wet Northumberland, but I can just about see you because you're in Belfast.
That's as light as it gets in Belfast. Michael McIntyre said, well, Belfast is the only place you go in the world and you open the curtains and it goes darker.
Yes. I'm not going to accept that, Terry. I've worked a lot of times in Belfast. I love it and I love the people. And don't forget, my surname is Gallagher. Right, so, Terry, before we get into the book, tell us what Bell & Company does and who you do it for.
Bell & Company, we have put ourselves under the title of debt strategists. We deal with every facet of debt, be it business, personal, whatever form it comes in, and any size within reason of debt. Our biggest case is a $53 million personal guarantee in Dubai. My favourite case settlement was a $23,000 foreign hospital bill, and it's varied. We're not insolvency practitioners. We're not solicitors. We bring what we believe a whole view to somebody's issues, and we understand the empathy that's required with it. And we're not soft, but debt's not good. Debt's not good if it's not working.
Okay, I'm with you. Now, I liked reading your book. It's straightforward read, telling it as it is. Is that how you think businesses should look at their challenges at the moment? Wake up and face up, or you'll be ridden over?
Very much so, especially with the backdrop of mainstream media. There is, the end of the world is nigh, everybody's useless and everything else. We as SME owners and alike, we're the bedrock, we're the engine of the economy, always recognised by the government. We're the guys that create the taxes and the flows. But we also face problems, and our attitude is always face the problems and take them on. It's Rishi has given us the Coronavirus Act, which has suspended any litigation. There is a maelstrom coming through in terms of what's going to happen here. But all we try and do is get ready and attack the problem. Don't sit there and hide behind the curtains. That's not going to work here.
Yeah. Now, I confess, I did what you say don't do. I went straight to page 49 for your glossary of terms, some of which obviously I cannot repeat on a global show like this.
Absolutely.
But even more illustration of your direct, I want to say human approach. If so, how much do you think humanity plays in the success of your business?
Humanity is everything. It's everything. From two sides. So we understand fully where clients can be. Some people cannot deal with a small amount of debt. Some people are very blasé about huge amounts of debt, and it's finding that right mix. Humanity works two ways, though. I am a massive advocate and supporter of our team. They have a very difficult job. That's why we conduct ourselves in the glossary of terms that shouldn't necessarily be discussed, as you say, on this program. But so if anybody is rude to my team, they're rude to me. If anybody is, if we have a measure, if we don't like somebody, we're not taking them on as a client, because it's a tough enough job, and you don't need an idiot against you, even though they're your client. So humanity is everything in this, in the numbers, the legals, bloody blah. But at the end of the day, it's what's important to the people.
Yeah, I understand the humanity bit. Having worked in tourism, hospitality, travel for all these years, some people are in tears. They put their life savings, everything into their pub and everything. No, look, nobody wants to get into serious debt. Well, I'll rephrase that. Most small businesses don't want to get into serious debt, but the unforeseen can happen. As you take on the loan, everything looks rosy about repayments, and then suddenly something out of the blue like COVID happens. What key things should an SME consider in today's new world before taking on a loan?
It's all about personal exposure, essentially. It depends the style you want to trade. If you feel you should trade as a sole trader, obviously you're completely exposed to every debt, the revenue and everything else. If you're looking at a limited company, undoubtedly banks, financial institutions, the fintech banks, they're all looking for personal guarantees. Are you willing to put that on the line? The COVID-19 I believe there was a recession coming. Nobody called COVID, but there was a recession coming because we were due one. And it's a ready reckoner. But it's amazing the difference between the 2008 crash and this crash.
Yeah.
And the key thing here is to sit down and assess your risk. So it sounds like a terrible cliche. Get your house in order. Know your numbers. All cliche stuff, but it's so important now. So you can make reasoned judgments. SMEs and entrepreneurs are risk takers. Control the risk if you can, because if COVID can take us literally out the knees, we need to be ready for anything else that could happen. And it's just if you get your house in order, know where you stand, know what your risks are, know what the experts. And I would say this anyway, but speak to experts.
Yeah.
Don't speak to a solicitor that helped you sort out buy a house, right? But people do. They're walking the highs. I'm not a great advocate of our legal friends. I'll put that out there, right? But they have a place. Just make sure you get your facts right and you understand them.
I'm with you. Absolutely, totally. Look, COVID's caused a problem around the world. And then we have this thing called Brexit, which it could be just as harmful, but it may be in different ways. Do you think it'll extend the heartache for COVID, or will it be an opportunity? And I'm presuming, by the way, that we're going to get a deal.
I'm sure we're going to get a deal. This is our masters, our politicians playing games, in games they shouldn't play, on both sides. I voted Remain, but I don't believe that the EU is a credible organisation overall in terms of where they're going. That's not a political statement, but they've caused on the top of COVID. There was no need for this. There's no need. They every time they go to the wire, and it'll be next week, they'll be back slapping and high fives and whatever these guys do and girls do. But it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. The risk and the fear they put into things. And then you get, again, my bugbear at the minute, mainstream media, they grab it and run with it. Michel Barnier's shoelace was undone the other day. Is that a sign? It's crazy. Someone did say the other day it'd be good if we could get Juncker back, because at least we could have a bit of a party. So, but it's but it does bring opportunities as well. So we do a bit of work in Spain. We help people who have Spanish properties and that have gone wrong. From our clients and from our perspective, Spanish banks are petrified of Brexit. They've got it in their head, because if there have been problems prior to Brexit, there's going to be even more problems for them in terms of cross-jurisdiction stuff, because they're not good at it. And then on a doorstep here, obviously, we've got the Republic. And again, we're looking at the opportunities there, because you've got to, there will be opportunities here. There's going to be a lot of pain and hurt, but there will be opportunities.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's just getting small business in particular to look outward, and to look up from the fact they've had to have their nose down so much this last 6-9 months, haven't they?
Absolutely. And I say it's that bit of reflection. There's a brilliant book I've just looked at, which is called Deep Thought, and you go right into the nth of what you have as a business. And as SME owners, you don't get that chance. It's I always say, if the toilet's blocked, I'm the front man for dinner, or I'll be there to do that. If I was working late till last night, you don't get that chance to reflect. And it's very important to try and get that time. Going back to what I was saying, if you are going to struggle slightly as a business with COVID and the other effects and or Brexit, sit back and try and reflect. This is a good time of year to do it, because this Christmas we're going to be bored as hell.
You talk for yourself. I've got lots of interviews still happening at Christmas. Look, there are many new lenders emerging and many new neobanks, and I've interviewed lots of the leaders of those, and new forms of finance. How should an SME look and evaluate these new options? Because some have some hidden dangers, I feel. Where should they exercise caution?
It's getting the context. So we deal with a lot of neobanks, fintechs. I think the important thing is to understand, if I may first, just a small technical. If you look at any platform that's out there, the funding circles, Ewokers, and any number of them, there are a plethora of these, which causes a problem in its own sense in terms of what we do. But they are brokers. They're passing on the investors' money. Okay, so it's there. They have certain parameters to work in, and they're very good. They've been very, very good in filling the gap after the last recession through to this period, because I'm looking around the city square here, because we've got the four big banks here, and they've been about as much use as a chocolate teapot to SMEs. And these guys have filled a gap, but it still goes back to the basics I was talking about first. Know your exposure. All of them work on a PG. Personal guarantee.
Personal guarantee.
That in turn then puts everything at risk should it go wrong. I'm not saying if it goes wrong, when it goes wrong, should it go wrong. And that's not in a negative. I'm the most positive. I love success in business, but when it gets in the brown and smelly, as we say, you've got to be aware of the ramifications.
Yeah. Yes.
And it said they're very important in terms of what they're going to be able to do after the Sybils and the Bibbles ends. I don't know. That's the Corona sort of loan facilities that are about. It'll be a different market again. But it's a heady mix. I actually refer to it in the book, because you get, instead of just having, say, Ulster Bank over there, having your mortgage, your business loan, your premises loan, your overdraft, your credit card, they're scattered. You can end up with the same sort of, say, facilities, but maybe 15 lenders.
Okay. Just before we move on to the next questions, I just want to remind viewers and listeners of your URL, your website. It's viewers, it's on the screen behind me. It's bellcomp.co.uk. I'll read that out for listeners. Bell, BELLCOMP.co.uk. Now, a last marketing message about your book. How can businesses get a copy? I don't normally do this, but I know that you can get a copy free, because and I do believe in it. It's a great little book, even if you haven't got debt problems.
Absolutely. Thank you for those kind words. There's two. The principal way is through the website. If you go, send us an email. It's hello@bellcomp.co.uk. And you can either get the physical version, or we can help Greta Thunberg save the world, or we can send you an email version of it, so you can, when you are bored at Christmas.
No, I don't think
it's to be a bad Christmas. You've got to sit down and read that. No, they're all free. We're not charging it. We're not looking to, we are slightly using it for our marketing, but it's to trying to give a whole approach, if you like. First campaign in the new year, our marketing campaign, is about the mindset of debt, which is very, very important.
Yes, we're exactly the same. 2021. It's Go 2021. But the reason why I'm keen on this book is, Terry, not just for yourself. I'm talking about as a business, by yourself, but you know lots of colleagues when you're SMEs, you network and things like that, and they themselves may be a little bit worried, a little bit concerned. It could be your suppliers, it could be, as I say, those people that you network with, it could be even your customers. So do them a little favor, and I think it's quite motivational as well, especially page 49. Right, let's talk about your podcast, Real Talk with Terry and the team. What's it about? And how did it come about?
It came about, we started doing a few webinars, so we're sharing a bit of information, and it's, as I always say, they're not the sexiest things, we're talking about leases and what can go wrong and that, but we're trying to put across what we do. And in terms of Real Talk, which is very early days in terms of, we're nowhere near as professional as yourself, Malcolm, in terms of presentation, not least because I'm comparing it, but we're trying to take out the white noise. There's so much white noise. If you looked at social media, you wouldn't get out of bed. If you watch the news, and we've been speaking to doers, as I call them. So there's a brilliant restaurateur here in Belfast, Michael Dean, he goes from a Italian restaurant style through to Michelin star, great entrepreneur. A couple of guys in London there who've got a bit of passion, and a couple of experts that we like as well in terms of clarity and what they say. A great guy, old guy, and he doesn't mind me calling him old guy, called David Buick. And we're trying to get that mix. So you get a bit of clarity. Let's cut through the garbage here. Let's cut to the chase. Really, where are we? And you want to hear how, unfortunately, this is going to affect businesses. Next year, we got a guy who did a Channel 4 documentary about positivity. It's a little bit rah-rah, but it's very important. You need that go-to valve. So what we're trying to do is it's still early days in our conception. And as I was listening to a podcast the other day by Reid Hoffman, who set up LinkedIn, he said, you need to be embarrassed by your first efforts.
Right.
Get on with it. Don't try and get it perfect once. Believe me, ours aren't perfect to start with, not least because this is the face of radio. But it's very, we want to get strong messages across, similar to what you're doing. You've got your platforms, your different, and you've got your niches, and you know where you're going with it. And yeah, we're going to nick a few things off you, Malcolm, as we go along here.
Right. Well, anytime we keep sharing, we've all got to keep innovating.
Absolutely.
And, you want to see what we've got lined up for 2021 when we invite you back again. You'll enjoy that. And by the way, there's no such thing as an old person in business. I call them gravitas. Like gravitas.
Absolutely.
Gravitas. Absolutely. Yeah. You get it from grey hair.
I've got a dollop myself there. Not quite.
Yeah. A while to go. Look, in your mind, what's the purpose of the podcast? And because it is a commitment, I know, with all our channels, what do you want to achieve with it? And how will you know when you're achieving that purpose?
It's sharing, if you like, our thoughts and approaches to things with like-minded people. It's not going and saying, right, this is what we believe, we need somebody to agree. We had the SEO of the Gold Council, a very good guy who you might want to catch on to, a nice guy, David Tate. And it's just getting that little bit of a backdrop with the white noise and where we're going to go here.
Yeah.
So their perception, and we call it, rather than, sorry, that wasn't ageist earlier, but it does come with the experience to be able to sort of slightly look forward. But we want doers as well. How's it affecting you? One guy went nuts about working from home. Absolutely nuts. We had to come down in the middle of the podcast. And he said, it's a work-shy charter and that just doesn't work. Okay, so and it's good because you hear other stuff. Oh, it really works well for me. It's great. Yeah, cool. Where are you? Walking the dog again? Oh, great. Yeah, that's cool. We're getting loads out of here for that. And it's trying to, we're going to do more and more doers, actual people in business doing something, how it's affected them. What have you done? And if there's a wee tip in there, it's great.
Yeah, yes. And you do get to know people a lot better, don't you, than you would in the, I'm going to say the normal world, the past normal world. You do get to know them.
Absolutely. And it's trying to cut through, or I keep using the phrase white noise, but that's what's out there.
Yeah.
I have a little thing where I look at Twitter every day to find out what they're falling out about. I look at the Times quickly for a bit of sport, and then I wing through the FT. Anything else, go away.
Yeah, right. Okay.
That's a polite phrase.
Yeah, I'm glad about that. Terry, I like to give all my guests 3 wishes, and yours are for small businesses achieving financial stability in 2021. What's your 3 wishes for them to take action on?
One is to work on your mental health, which is a cliche at the moment, okay? But the clue is in the word, it's health. Okay, we hear mental health, right? Work on the positivity because you're going to need it next year. Okay, let's not butter this up. It's going to be a tough year next year. Yeah. Get rid, as I mentioned in the book, get rid of negative people, even if they're in your family. I'm not saying literally, but it's tough enough out there with miserable so-and-sos around you. So get rid of that. Keep positive, but you have to work at that. That's not, woo, everything's great, let's go. It's not that at all. It has to be continual. Look after yourselves. Businesses have got to be a lot more flexible. There's that very trendy phrase, pivot. A great example of that is we had a client who had a gym kitted out to the nth, financed to the max, and literally closed and in serious debt problems, but living the life, doing online gym classes, 20 people, and really jealous of the so-and-so. He's doing it from Spain. So he's pivoted. It doesn't matter what you do. There's detailing. There's another guy, a mechanic. He's selling parts as well now. We've got to find other things. If you just sit in the high street and open your door and think, right, the world's good. Come on, dear customers. You can't. You've got to go and grab every one of them. And the other one is recognize very genuinely that SME owners are great people, which sounds a bit, well, again, cliche, But we drive the economy. If we're not here, the jobs wouldn't be there, the taxes wouldn't be raised, which our politicians love to spend, by the way, and couldn't order around a coffee. Just realise you're strong, despite what everyone's telling you out there. Everybody's very strong people. We're not useless. We're all good people. We need to drive this economy back to where it needs to be, which will strangely be in about 4 years' time, just in time for the next election.
Yeah, right. Or the next downturn. Don't worry, it comes and goes, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It all comes around.
Yeah, it's Terry Bell and Company. I have thoroughly enjoyed meeting you. And my sort of fourth wish is that we'll talk again in 2021. Thanks for a great interview.
That'd be great. And thank you, Malcolm, and good luck to you and your team in 2021. Stay safe.